Hey everyone, this is Ashley with CTandRina Digitals. I'm going to do a quick tutorial to show you how to use my new big floral over herb backdrops in Photoshop. I have my image open that I want to use. I'm just going to go up to File and Place Embedded, navigate to the folder where your backdrops are saved, and select whichever one you want to use. I'm going to be using this one. Okay, and I'm going to resize it first. Keep my proportions there. Press OK. Go ahead and hide that for now. Select my subject background. I'm going to go up to my quick selection tool and select subject up here at the top. Once she is selected, you can use your plus and minus up here to add more to your selection or take away, but I think that did a pretty good job. Duplicate my layer, create a layer mask, and then press Control or Command if you have Mac plus I on your keyboard to invert that layer. I'm going to make my digital backdrop visible again. You can hold down Alt and click between the layers here, or you can right click and create clipping mask, and that's going to put it behind your subject. And now you can move around the backdrop a little bit where I want that to be, and that looks good. And now you can add shadows here, or you can edit a completely different floor in, but if you want the easiest option, I would simply, I'm going to move this up more actually because I'm painting my original floor back in. So I don't want to mess with the shadows, and I picked a brighter image because she was already on white, so I can just get rid of this floor completely, and I can use the initial floor that was here, and then I will not need to mess with the shadows. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can either brush it back into this layer or off, or you can brush it just off of this, but I'm just going to use my mask here, and I'm going to use a black brush at 100% opacity. Soft black brush, and then I'm going to, sorry, I had it on white there, and then I'm just going to paint it off and just kind of feather it a little bit. Zoom in here. And now I want to keep the shadow that's like over here, so I'm not going to paint all the way up to it. I'm going to leave a little bit there, and now you see it brushed off part of this, so I'm going to make my brush small again, and I'm going to go to my white brush, and I'm going to hold down here, and if you do a straight line in Photoshop, if you click down and then hold down your shift key, it'll do a straight line. I should have done it just on that backdrop itself because I didn't think about it taking off of her legs when I wanted to paint it back on. But I'll just brush her legs back in, that's not a problem. Okay, zoom back in real quick and switch to that black brush again so I can paint her leg back in there. I'm just changing between brushes to be able to do it more quickly. Okay, now I also want to paint it back onto this stem right here. I thought about removing the stem altogether, but I think I'm going to leave it there. Still some white on there. Okay, and now I want to add just a little bit of blur to the digital backdrop. Filter blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to add about 2. I don't want it to be too blurred. I just want it, it's obviously behind her, so it would be more blurred than her. So and then I would go around the edges before you flatten. This copy and pasted pretty good, so I shouldn't need to really do anything for work around her body. It looks pretty good, but if you needed to, you could use your white and your black brush to brush on and touch up the edges if you needed to. I'm actually going to go ahead and flatten and duplicate my layer again, and then I don't want these lines showing as if it's a wood floor. I want it to seem seamless, so all I'm going to do is grab my healing tool, and I'm just going to go around and I'm just going to get rid of all of those lines. And you could use like your clone tool if you wanted to, but that messes with your shadows and everything then too. So it's easier to just use the healing tool. So again, sorry, I might need to zoom in here and make a straight line. There we go. It's going to be easier, definitely, if you use a backdrop that's going to match. I always say it's best to, if you're going to use a digital, it's best to figure out which digital you want to use before you have the shoot. That way you can shoot specifically for that backdrop. I do this all the time for everyone I add to the shop, so I don't do that all the time. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to blend, and I don't have images to work with. Okay, so now actually the shadows on this are pretty good. I would have, like, if I would have had her like right up against the floral, like if her feet would have been like back here, I would have added a bunch of shadow onto these petals from her. But since she's standing all the way back here and there's light coming through between her and the backdrop seemingly, I don't need to add any more shadows in there. I think that's good. So before and after, you go up, oops. Before and after. And I mean, her gallery's been delivered, but I would add this to her gallery if she hadn't already had her reveal. But if you have any questions, you can message me on Etsy. If you are a studio photographer, I would love for you to join my group on Facebook. It is linked in the description.